Turns out the Thunder are now 10-2 for the first time since the time we made it to the finals, 2011, 2012. Feeling hot right now, Dave? I'm feeling hot.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about it because the best part about this whole thing is J-Dub, bro. He's been asked to play center. If you guys look at the starting lineups, you'll see starting at center is J-Dub. The last 2 games, he's averaging 30 points a game. And, I had to do some more research on J-Dub just to understand exactly what he's doing. But if you take 2 games out of this season, this dude's averaging 26 points a game, 25 points a game. You take out the 14-point performance he had against Houston, and you take out the first game he had. It wasn't very much. But after that, he scored 31, 28, 20, 29. I mean, this is what his season's looking like. But the fact is that when you have a situation on your hands where Chet gets injured, you have to see somebody step up. And last night, man, you got to say J-Dub had one of his best games he's ever had with 31 points, 2 blocks, 4 steals, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 7 for 7 on free throws, 4 for 7 on 3-pointers. Just everywhere you want to see that young man just balling out right now.
Yeah, those 2 blocks, I mean, they were back-to-back. It reminded me a lot of the way Chet did it, just protecting the rim, and sometimes he gets challenged back-to-back times. And so that was incredible. He turned that into a couple of free throws on the other end, I think, in transition, got out and ran, and they were trying to find him to reward him. Knocking down threes in transition, stepping into things. But yeah, I mean, what we're seeing right now is a complete superstar, imprint. His level of basketball, like, who cares if he has to play center? It doesn't really matter. He's playing aggressive. Whatever happens in the future, we can't lose this version of J-Dub, because this is our team at our best is when he's playing like this. I mean, he reminds me of D Wade, but
Sure.
He's a better shooter. He's more athletic. He's a better defender. I mean, all those things at the same time, like, can that possibly be true?
We've said that J-Dub's special for a long time. I think we're just finally understanding how special he is. When Chet's in the game, J-Dub isn't expected to dominate like this for 31 minutes like he played last night, or 30 minutes than the game before. He's expected to play hard and play well. But with Chet out, it's like coaches looking at J-Dub and saying, we need more from you. Really leaning on all the guys. And I want to go back and ask you this. We've got one starter that's on pace for a 50, 40, 90. Can you name that starter? I'll give you 2 guesses.
Dort.
Lou Dort. You got it, bro. Lou Dort right now is the only guy that's on pace for our team to average 50, 40, 90. And he is averaging right now 47, 46, and 93. So Lou Dort, man, that is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the way he shoots the ball with so much confidence is unbelievable. And he's finishing through contact, which we always kind of felt like he could do if he could add a little finesse. But mostly the way that the team finds him, they feel his confidence. And so they're looking for him in transition. They're looking for him anytime that the defense is in any way out of sync. So it's incredible to watch what he's been doing. But like, obviously, Shea's level of balling right now is almost, we've become accustomed to him being able to do this. But like, what he was doing from behind the arc this last game was incredible.
So good.
But like, it really, like you said, it starts and stops for us right now with the level of J-Dub and what he can bring to the table. I mean, the bench is incredible too. We're seeing it on every level. But I can't get past what we're seeing from J-Dub because, like you said, we've been calling it for a while, but we've seen him take a reserve role, which is one of the great things about a player like him. But this is something else, man. Like, we can't overstate the importance of a guy like him playing the 5 and be able to do it at this level. And really, like, these teams that we're playing aren't chump teams, and we're gonna have a lot more challenging games coming up because it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Like, this is not gonna be an easy schedule. But the thing that really, I think, shifts the size thing from a traditional disadvantage. So now having J-Dub as an advantage is what I think we saw in maybe the second quarter and on was the pressure that we put on the ball. And really, you see it most of the game, but we started out a little slow. And then there's a point in these games where teams are taking 12 seconds like to get the first pass into their offense off. And they're trying to get the ball up quick, but it's really hard to get up across half court. And when you get across half court, the first pass isn't available, the second pass, and they're running through their offense. And when finally get the first pass off, they're just so frustrated. And it's like the first probably 25 possessions that happens, teams are like just like super determined because like they've been practicing hard. They've been preparing. They know what they're supposed to be doing. Their coaches are yelling at them and stuff like that. But when it gets to like late in the third and the fourth quarter, and they're still trying to run off these screens and they can't get the calls, they're starting to throw their hands up in the air. They're starting to start like, what are we supposed to do? We can't get open. And when we do get open, the windows are closed so fast. And it reminds me a lot of how teams were like they would dominate us in ways when we were really young. We're now imposing on these other teams, and good teams that made the playoffs last year and stuff like that are getting really frustrated.
Yeah, and we're watching some incredible stats right now. I want to go over some of them. We're only averaging 11 turnovers a game right now. That's incredible.
Forcing 24 is my guess. I'm just guessing.
We're plus 20 on turnovers against us. So we're creating 20 turnovers a game. We're getting 12.7 steals a game. These are just insane numbers for a defensive team. And this, again, it goes right back to the fact that what you just said, it's the 20 plus turnovers a game that people are having. Last night, Pelicans had 23 turnovers and we had 16 steals. Let's go over the steals because to me, this is the key to our defense has been playing. Cason Wallace had 5 steals last night, and Lou Dort had 2, and Isaiah Joe had 1. Now, I'm bringing these 3 guys up for one reason, is because Coach decided to go ultra small, like micro ball, as we like to call it. He went to micro ball instead of using somebody like Dylan Jones or Usman Jang or Kenny Hustle or Aaron Wiggins or AJ Mitchell, who's been playing a ton recently. He's using these small guys, Cason Wallace, 6'3", Isaiah Joe, 6'4", Lou Dort, 6'4". These are the 3 guys that are on our team that are under that 6'5" mark. And honestly, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing the defense that we're playing. I'm seeing the offense that we're playing, the mismatches we're creating. It's crazy to me that we're causing teams to have 20 turnovers a game right now, and we don't even have a center playing. Like we don't have any minutes that we've been given to any of these guys that are a center. Dylan Jones would be the closest thing to a center that we have, and he played 8 minutes last night, and it's not been playing all that much. But he's a straight up forward. He's not a center, and he has a long time to develop before he's taking a lot of minutes. But AJ Mitchell stepped up in a huge way recently. 26 minutes off the bench last night, led our bench minutes, 6 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. This dude is truly spectacular, and he's making it so that when Coach gets healthy and that we have all the players back, AJ Mitchell is going to be one of those guys is going to be taking time from these other players because he's special. And I can't say enough about these guys and the way they're playing defense. Like straight up, it's insane, man. Like we got 7 blocks last night without Chet. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, everybody was in on it. But I mean, there's a play, back-to-back plays where J-Dub went up for this dunk, bro. It was gonna be the dunk of the year. He got fouled, right? They didn't call nothing, right? The very next time down, we get the steal and he goes up and he gets an and one dunk, and it was just like, you know what I mean? What were you thinking? Because to me, that was like it was like J-Dub's like, I don't know, like I felt like it was a J-Dub coming out party. I felt like this is on ESPN, right? This is his chance to like make an impact without even coming out and doing anything that we haven't seen, but just condensing it all into one singular game. Like I feel like this was him making his case for an all-star appearance. I mean, it was such a resounding, but specifically the dunks, specifically the blocks, like, and then you just put up the total 31 points. Like, how do you ignore this guy? How are people still overlooking him? I don't think there is anybody anymore.
he has to put this in perspective into we've been saying that we would rather Jalen Williams over Jalen Brown for a long time. And a lot of people made fun of us in the beginning for it. But for me, I'm looking at it. I need to see him put these games in consistency.
Right.
Consistency. But think about this. He doesn't just have points or just rebounds or assists. This dude plays all over the ball.
Right.
You know, like he's averaging more steals than Shea is. He's averaging 2.1 steals a game. His defense and deflections are, you know, out of this world. In the last 10 games, he's averaging 21.4 points a game, 2.5 assists, a block a game, 5.1 assists. I'm sorry, 2.5 steals, 5.1 assists, and 6.5 rebounds, while shooting 78% from free throw range, 46 from 3-point range, and 54 from field goal. This guy is doing something right now. J-Dub is doing something right now that people are having to stop and watch him. If he continues to put these numbers up while Chet's gone, there's no doubt about it. Our second All-Star will be J-Dub. Like, J-Dub will get an All-Star nod, because you cannot deny that this guy is one of the better guards in the league if he can do this consistently game in and game out, which, Mark, my bet is 100% that he can do this. He's got one of the greatest teachers on his team with Shea. Shea's been part of so many great Thunder teams and the Clippers teams. He's had great point guards teaching him how to play the game. And now he's able to use this and teach J-Dub. Like, this is exactly what we need for team chemistry. This is exactly what we need to be able to compete for a championship, is to have two guards that are so dominant that nobody can mess with them. And if J-Dub's playing power forward or J-Dub's playing center, we now see how effective he is against other teams that have centers that are traditional centers. They can't play them with J-Dub on the floor. And if you want to say, oh, yeah, that they can play them because they'll get a double-double. But if they're willing to play them and get a double-double, J-Dub's going to score 30 points on them. You can't have it both ways. J-Dub will pull you outside of the lane. He'll go around you. He'll go backdoor on you. He'll do all these other things while getting 7, 8, 9, 10 assists. Like, he does everything. Like, as far as trying to get his voice known for that he belongs in the All-Star game, to me, is just about the consistency factor. If he can do this for the next 3 months, 2 months, it's over. Like, he will be known as one of the top 5 hybrid players in the league. And that's where you want to be.
I see it. I mean, it's right there. And it's, how does it affect when Chet comes back? Because let's face it, this situation we're in where, well, but like, in a way, though, I feel like it's evolving, right? Because we don't, out of the nature of being forced, so you don't have Jay Will, you don't have Hartenstein, you don't have Chet. And so coach is putting 5 guards out there. Now, when Chet comes back, like, let me ask you, like, is it the extra space that's helping J-Dub be more successful? Like the fact that there's more lanes to the hoop? Or is it just coach saying, we need you to go do this? Which one is more important? Or are they the same?
It's a combination of everything, because if you think about it right now, is teams don't know how to play us, and coach is taking advantage of that. There will be a moment where teams figure out how to adjust to J-Dub on the floor. And when that happens, things will be a little bit different for J-Dub. But this is all about confidence right now. When you get a player that's playing this well and he gets confident in his game, it doesn't matter where everything else is at. He's going to keep on playing better and get better and get better until everybody's just like, what the hell's happened? You know, like, if he is building, like what coach always says, is the 0-0 mindset, right? There is caveat to that. It's the 0-0 mindset unless you're playing fucking amazing. Because then you can build off of that. You can say, look how well I'm playing. I can continue playing like this. I can do this. It's getting out there and it's attacking. And once he gets that and gets that confidence, it doesn't matter who's playing him anymore. It just doesn't. Like, he can just dominate like that, and everybody else sits back and be like, oh, wait a second here. I thought if we put a power forward on him or a small forward on him, it would stop him. Well, not anymore, because he already put 14 points up, 16 points up in 2 quarters. You're not going to be able to stop that now. He's got the confidence. J-Dub is a confident player. When he's got the confidence, he plays 10 times better, and that's what we need from him.
Yeah, I think we also just need him to know how much he's needed. I mean, when he was in college, he was the man. So he knows how to play that role, but he's also willing to, defer. But sometimes you're sitting in a spot where you have a guy who's an elite level player, and the best thing for the team is for them to stop deferring. And they don't know that that's their role immediately. And then as they grow into that role, you kind of find yourself on the other side, and you're like, well, shit, dude, how do you ask them to reduce themselves? Like, they've already proven that they are a Ferrari. You know what I mean? Like, at this stage, you can't. And so then the thing with Chet has always been, how does he come back and fit into what we're doing and make us a few points better? You look at what he did last year, like where we were from the year before to the year after. We went from outside the playoff, bubble kind of thing. We made it into the play-in, lost to the Timberwolves, to the number 1 seed, a lot because of Chet's ability to improve what was happening just by a few points each game after game, stacked up.
Yep.
So if we could see that same thing again, where we're already the number 1 seed or right at the top of the West, right? And then Chet comes back, it becomes an even more interesting team. It becomes a team that has a chance to do something like historic.
Yeah, it goes back to man, I don't remember when it was, but we watched a team in the 90s that went out there and they didn't have a traditional center because injury, right? And all their fans started chanting, "We don't need a center. We don't need a center," right?
Really?
And then they got hammered for like 6 games in a row. All right.
Yeah.
Like, it was like horrible. All right. It might even have been like Philadelphia with Dikembe Mutombo when he got injured for a little bit.
Okay.
And Allen Iverson. So, but my point is that, like, there will be challenges, there will be difficulties, but out of all the time that the NBA we've seen in the NBA, centers and dominant centers, this is the time to be able to go micro ball and be successful, because there's not these traditional centers that are rounding, pounding down low. They're just not. Like, if that's what they're going to do, they're going to put big guys down low and just throw the ball inside, then yeah, we'll be in trouble. But that's not how the NBA is like anymore. It's they don't have a Shaq out there. They don't have Alonzo Mourning or Patrick Ewing. Like, this is a different style of basketball where centers want to shoot the ball. And if they're going to be okay with shooting the ball and getting out in the perimeter, we're going to destroy them every single game. Like, it won't even be funny. Like, most teams are shooting under 30% from 3-point range against us. Like, we've had a couple games where they shot pretty well. But most teams are shooting under 25% from 3-pointers against us. And you put that in perspective of putting a big man out there, that's going to make it go down worse. Like, we want these teams to take the game outside of the lane, and we're baiting them in that way, and they're doing it. So eventually it will stop. Eventually we will look at it and be like, man, we just need a center, because we'll lose 2 or 3 games in a row. But that's the NBA season. And when we lose those games, everybody be like, oh, we need a center. We need a center. Well, let me just put this in perspective. We don't need any changes right now. If we were to go out and spend 3 first rounds to get Marketing, right, from Utah, like, we would lose 2 of our 5 best draft picks, or 3 of our best 5 draft picks over the next 3 years. We don't want that. We're going to lose money. We don't want that. People will say, what about Lopez? Well, if you're going to go get a center, Lopez is going to be the best guy on the trade market, because he plays defense and he hits threes and he's a great guy in the locker room. But everybody knows that. So in order to get him, you're going to have to give up a first-round pick. My point about that is that I don't think that that's something we want to do right now, because we have Hartenstein coming back, we have J. Will coming back, we have Chet coming back in mid-January time frame. Like, we don't need to panic. We need to let this team develop around the guys that they have, and allowing J-Dub, allowing Shea, allowing Isaiah Joe to find his shot, Lou Dort to play every position. When we went small ball against Golden State, J-Dub was everywhere, bro. Like, against Draymond Green, he was everywhere. He was pushing him around. He was, doing that stuff. That's what we need from Dort. We need that type of mentality that I'm not going to let you push me around. I don't care if you're a Draymond Green. Like, this is what we have from this team. Cason Wallace, another player right now that's playing outstanding. His his way of playing defense, I think he leads, if not the top 3 players in the league off deflections, guys. He is phenomenal. Like, he is so good on defense that it makes him hard not putting him out on the court. I don't know why we didn't see AC last night. Did you know why we didn't see AC last night?
No, he took a couple of really tough falls the previous game, so I'm wondering if it was something related to that. But
cool.
I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say is because if you had told me we were gonna beat the Pelicans without AC, without Chet, and the Pelicans are a decent team right now, even though they're 3-9, they still have a decent team, plagued with injury. But I'm telling you, like, we're playing so well right now that we don't have 2 of our top 8 players, and we're still beating the shit out of people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the Pelicans, after beating them in the playoffs or sweeping them, they came in and they wanted to beat us. And I think you're right though, when we put teams in a position where they feel like they need to match up with us because we're exploiting the size to our advantage being small, then all of a sudden it's like their best 5 guards can't match up against our best 5 guards. So it's a kind of a mistake that way for teams. But I don't know exactly right now what they do, but they've got to figure something out.
Let's go through that. J-Dub, Shea, Isaiah Joe, Luke Dort, Cason Wallace, right? AC, AJ Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins. All right. How many of those guys would start on teams in the NBA? That's 8 or 9 guys right there.
Right. Yeah, they'd all be starters. Yeah.
They all start, right? My point about that is that if you look at it, if someone's trying to go 5-on-5 with guards, and then we're taking 4 guards and rotating them in and out, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's no way they can compete with that. They might be able to compete with that for 3 quarters, but one of the quarters they're going to be so tired because they only have 5 deep on guards because they have power forwards, small forwards, centers that are what I call the old school basketball. Like, what we're doing right now is something that's so revolutionary that we don't even know the power of it. We don't know what the impact in the NBA is going to be in 5 years from now. But I can guarantee you this is that if this is the way it's looking, then, dude, centerless basketball is fun to watch. I mean, it is really exciting to watch. And I, as a big man at heart, and as somebody that loves to develop big men, I could say this is that I would have never, ever in a million years say I would want to watch the NBA without its centers. But this is proving a point that should be taken right now, is that it's about the guards in the NBA. And the guards are going to prove everything else. And because Sam Presti has drafted the way he has drafted and put these guards defensive first, it's over. It's over. Like, we're going to have the best 6 guards on one team in the league. There will never be a team that will be able to look at it and people be like, oh, well, Oklahoma City's, 6 guard sets, we could compete with that. Listen, there's not a team in NBA history, except maybe the Warriors, that could go 6 guards. But even then, they had big men. They had Draymond Green. I don't think that there is anybody. They could go 5 guards plus a sub that's a guard and be able to beat the teams that they're beating. Just don't. Like, the defense aspect that has to come with that is elite. And that's what our defense is elite. We've played, 4 of our 12 games. We've kept teams under 90 points. All but 2 games, we've kept teams under 100 points. This is insane, guys, or 3 games. This is insane. There is nothing ever like this. And there will never, ever be something like this. And that's why, to me, it's like, I'm more about being in the moment with this team than trying to fix the injury issues. Like, oh, if we go get this big man, or if we get this power forward, or if we get this guy. Like, no, I just want to watch this team, and I want to watch them develop in a way that, like, I understand. And the only way to do so is not trying to change anything by getting a center, and just appreciate what we have that's sitting right in front of us right now.
Yeah, dude, I agree. I think when I watch these games a lot now, I think about how, like, your game back when you played, when you were healthy, would have fit very well into the way that this team is playing without a big. Because, yeah, you say you're a big man, but you were 6'4", and you could shoot the 3, and you could take players off the dribble, but that wasn't like your main thing. You also had a back to the basket game. So like you could kind of pull people into the dunker spot, and you could take them off the dribble in those positions. I guess my main point is, if you are an undersized big man and or girthy guard, right? There's a position for you on our squad, because there's certain advantages you have, and not everybody has those advantages, and they don't know necessarily how to counter those advantages. Lou Dort has inherent advantages. AJ Mitchell does too. Jones has some, real size to him, but he's not necessarily what is considered like tall. And I think that was kind of like where you were. You weren't necessarily tall, but your advantages had a lot to do with being able to push people around, get to the places you wanted to go to. And those things are, for me, like, I like that about basketball. I think for a while we saw a really boring, or it was known as boring, I don't know if it was boring, but a style of basketball that focused on a lot of threes, focused a lot on inside out. The Spurs kind of revolutionized it, and it kind of got a little bit mundane. This, to me, is the counter of that, right? Where, like, you're seeing action, you're seeing the ball swing from side to side, you're seeing the ball hit the paint, and then next thing you know, we're exploiting an advantage off the, cross matches that are incredible, like Shea finishing at the rim, J-Dub dunking at the rim, one of these other guys knocking down a three or mid-range bucket, and it's all orchestrated very much like a jazz band.
Has to be. Everything has to be in sync perfectly. And that's what this offense and defense is proving to me. Coach D is so elite on the coaching staff and understanding where his weaknesses are and making sure that he makes better for those weaknesses. The offseason is a perfect example of that. Sam Presti sat down with coach and the coaching staff and said, what are your needs for this year? Coach says, 3-point shooter and defensive big guard. All right, what else? All right, what else? All right, gotcha. Okay, my point about that is that when everything is in sync, not just the coaching staff, not just the GM, but the players, people believe. You're seeing it in the stadiums, you're hearing it in the crowds. Like, there's a different vibe happening in Oklahoma City right now. It reminds me of the vibe that happened last year with Celtics, when all the Celtics fans realized that this was the year. This was the year that they were going to win. And if they didn't, it was going to be all or bust. That's not all or bust year for us because we're not the Celtics. But everybody's starting to recognize in Oklahoma City that this is the moment that you start paying attention, because this Oklahoma City team is not normal. It is not normal and any stretch of the imagination. Any other team in the league, all their centers go down, and they'd be in a position right now being like, what do we do? Let's go out and trade. Let's panic. Let's get this player. Let's get that player. But Oklahoma City, what do? They open it up and put 5 fucking guards out on the floor. And they say, we're going to beat the fuck out of you. And then when we're done out of it, we're going to make sure that you guys know who the best team in the league is, because that's what I'm seeing right now. Like 10-2, guys. And we haven't had a center in 3 games. That should tell you everything. This team's for real. We're not going anywhere.
That's a wrap, baby. We'll see you next time.